Today's episode, we're gonna do what I've been wanting to do this entire time. Lift this car and put some proper off-road wheels on it. My friends at Lucky 8 gave me a nice discount on a lift kit, so we're gonna do a 2.5-inch lift on this. It's already been coil spring converted, so this is just new shocks and new springs to make it both ride better as well as look better. We're gonna put some used tires on it just to feel out what's the right tire size we wanna run, and then we're gonna send it and hopefully take it off-roading very soon. Also got the roof rack on. This car's really starting to come together appearance-wise. I still have a check engine light, so in this episode, we're also gonna try a couple parts just to see if that can clear out my code. I'm going to use ChatGPT to try to diagnose and fix this. So wish me luck on all of this. This will be a fun one. This is where this car really becomes mine, becomes something unique and special. So I'm excited to share it with you all in the third episode of the P38 budget build series. All right, we are heading to go get some mods installed. That's right, I am the kind of degenerate who has a check engine light on the car and is leaking oil everywhere and decides let's mod it before we take care of the basics. With that out of the way, after Arizona and I saw that sick P38, I said, I gotta have a lift kit. It just makes the car sit so proper. So I bought the dude's wheels and I'm copping his style too. We are doing a 2-inch lift kit thanks to my friends at Lucky 8. It's terra firma shocks that are meant for higher ride height, 2-inch stronger and taller coils, and then some isolators on top that'll give me just a touch, like maybe another 1/2-inch lift, as well as a little bit better ride quality. So after this, I can then fit my 32s on. It'll look really cool. I will then be taking it off-roading and having fun. And yes, eventually I'll get that check engine light sorted out too, but not in a big rush on that one. It's more important to look and feel the part. The check engine light is just for a nasty cold start, so nothing that really affects the driving anyway. So with that out of the way, I'm heading to my friend Ed's. He has a mechanic that is gonna do us a solid and do this cheap. My last round of P38 repairs, they did good work despite the CEL still being there. However, their pricing was, a little rough. I think I paid double what I should have there. It was convenient, it was quick, they did good work. So good, fast, cheap, you can only pick two. I did not get cheap out of the equation. So this one, I'm told they do good work and it's cheap. So I'm gonna expect it to take a little while, but that's okay. Got the multiple back yesterday, so this frees up some parking for me, and I'm just a degenerate who can afford having a car be gone for a little while to save a buck. So wish me luck with the new mechanic. I think probably the 14th mechanic I've tried since starting YouTubing only 6 months ago. So we got the springs and shocks right here. Rotors and pads for the rear only, the fronts are fine. This is a coil pack that should solve the check engine light, minor misfire cold start. That goes up in the engine. I was told it's only a couple of bolts, but we'll see. And here are my beautiful new shocks and springs all installed and ready to go. Initial reaction is this is my first lifted truck. Never had a lifted car before. I've always been into lowering and slamming cars and wanting to lay frame even one day, which I've also never done. But I love it. You feel so high up. I already love that about the P38, but there's something about being this high up. Like even looking at trucks that are big, like Tundras and stuff, and you're like, hey, how's the weather down there? I mean, like, you feel pretty cool. It's funny, like my dogs are struggling to get in and out, as are my kids. So maybe some downsides, but and it won't fit in my garage anymore with the roof rack on. It might fit with it off, but this is cool. Lifted truck life. I'm not against it at all. So it's kind of crazy how a lifted 90s truck is still smaller both in height and tire dimensions than a new Defender. Maybe that's just how big cars have gotten, or maybe more capable, but hey, you know what? We're keeping up with the new Defender. I'm good with that. We are used tire shopping here. Got the wheels loose, and I'm mocking up some sizes. So everyone says 265, 7516 is very safe. It's about a 32-inch tire, a little less, like 31.7. Other people run 285s, and it's aggressive. It may rub a little bit, but bigger's better. So I'm gonna have this place, they want $400 installed, mount and balance for the whole set. I don't wanna put $1,300 into a new set of tires and wish I'd gone a bigger size. So I'm gonna have them mock up the 285. We're gonna turn the wheel both ways, figure out if it rubs at all, and if I can squeeze them in, I'm gonna squeeze them in. If not, we'll do the 265s. Either way, this should be the last we see on the skipping leg day view. I think there's a lot of wheel well here to fill out. And I think also just having the darker, more contrasty wheels, a meatier tire here, it's gonna look really, really cool. So either one should be a big improvement. We'll see which one works best. So we'll start with testing up the 265 6516, which you can see here. Clears with plenty of room, but it doesn't quite fill the fenders as much as I'd like. The 285 on a test fit was a little tight, but I mocked up both, which was the great part of going for used tires, just to see how it looks and not spend too much money before it doesn't fit. I forgot the correct lug bolts. Apparently these are slightly different, but we got the meats and I went 285. We're sending it. So I'm gonna go home, install these with the right lug bolts, and then I'm gonna do a little trimming. I think just that front valence and then the mud flaps, which are Phillips screws, should be good to go. So took a little longer than I hoped, but I'm really glad I did a test fit here and didn't go for the 265s. And finally, the moment I've been waiting for. Let's mock one of these up and do the other three. Hopefully that little bit of clearance will make the difference. All right, I am very pleased. Initial fit. Removing this helped a ton. I'll have to polish that and get some of the residue off. This too should have plenty of clearance. Oh, I look good with center caps too. And the dark wheels work because it's so close to the right color. In fact, I need to know for my own good. Ta-da! All right, I gotta go get the center caps. It's gonna drive me nuts. Boom. And wheel number 2. I don't even know if the mud flaps need to come off on this one, but it doesn't appear that I'm rubbing at all, but let's just see. Plenty of clearance. These look so sick. Love it. That's so cool. There you have it. That was a little bit more work and dirt than I wanted, but these look awesome. I'm so happy with it. This is how I dreamed it looking, and honestly, the color match is pretty close. So might try to touch them up, need to figure out the center caps, but like, that's pretty dialed. So I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. The project really now looks like a proper off-road rig. I'm in it under 11K, so other than that check engine light, which I think spark plugs and coil wires will fix it, we should be good to go. First drive with the lift kit and the wheels installed. I had to wait a day to do a real drive because the bolts are 28 millimeters, and that is the biggest I've ever needed. And I just didn't have the right 1/2-inch drive deep socket for 28 mils to put on the torque wrench. And I don't drive without the torque wrench on because I had a wheel fall off in high school and I'm just never allowed to do that again. My dad calls me loose lug still to this day, but it rides great. The tires aren't too noisy. I am still gonna get new ones, but the ride seems okay. We're gonna go further. The whole point of that was to see if the more aggressive size would actually work for a daily driver. So I want to put some miles on it. I also just checked the spark plug wires and replaced a few, and definitely those look corroded. My previous mechanic flagged it, so I'm gonna order a whole new set. A set came with this, but they look kind of janky and I don't know their age or anything about it. Better to just buy new for $100 or whatever it might cost and rule that out. Really easy to replace, other than one looks a little tricky. But I cleared the check engine light. We'll see if it goes away. And I know the baseline of how many miles I put on these used tires to just rule out that there'll be any tire related issues too. Last but not least, off camera, I tightened the oil pan gasket. Just tightened all those bolts, a couple turns. None were super loose, but none were very tight either. So I think that's where the oil's coming from, and if that's enough to sort of reseal it as the gasket's dried out, then maybe that'll help with my oil leaking. We're gonna do new spark plug wires. They're fresh and labeled, so that will make it real easy. I started to do this with the spare ones, but the previous owner said that they were actually used. So new going in. New plug wires are in, and it's running better. And y'all don't think I would skip the spark plugs, do you? These are pretty nasty, certainly worth a shot. One was also completely different than the other three on this side, so very easy access. I also threw in some dielectric grease. I have no idea if that stuff actually makes a difference. And sadly, I lost an AirPod down here somewhere. So now I have to add $200 to the budget tally. Thankfully I got the stereo working, so I no longer require this for my stereo. But 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We are just gonna see if this helps with my check engine light. I'm glad I did that. No idea if it'll fix my problem, but none of these look great. They all look pretty fouled up. Some of them, let's see if you can tell, are a regular standard socket. Some of them were 21 millimeters, so they didn't match. Like, they're not the same part number. And I don't know if that matches. Yeah, we got RN11YC, and then this part number, and then this is what Rover Parts recommends, and it's I guess same as what was in there on 6 out of the 8, but like, why would you mismatch spark plugs? And then again, none of them look great. Some of them look pretty fouled. Come on there, iPhone, there you go. So let's go see. I also put some dielectric grease in there and routed everything, and then I got some flowers for the lady. And it looks like the code I'm getting for my check engine light is a misfire light, and spark plugs and ignition coils are the lead culprits. I replaced the wires, the ignition coil, and the spark plugs now, so we've cleared it. Let's see if it comes back. All right, I cleared the check engine light. It actually started up and ran the cold start a lot better. And then I'm just gonna drive it and see if it came back. But that check engine light code combined with how fouled up those plugs look like make me hope, fingers crossed, that that is the issue that's been plaguing the check engine light. That would make life a lot easier for a number of reasons. If it is, I just don't like having a check engine light on any car for any reason. Yet alone misfire. So right now I'm just gonna go grab some dinner with the family in the lifted P38. I'm also just checking in on driving it with the lift. It rides great. I've heard it rub once in like 40 miles, so definitely can send it and get nicer tires eventually. So there you have it. We got the lift kit installed, we got the 33s on, the $100 wheels mounted, the right lug nuts on. It looks so cool. I also am experimenting with the hella lights off, or the fog covers off, but man, does this look the business. Yes, it has a check engine light, which is unfortunate, but bit by bit, we're getting closer to resolving it, and it's running fine or running better each time. So the spark plug wires, spark plugs, and ignition coil didn't solve my problems, but they didn't hurt either. So in the next episode, I think we're gonna get all the mechanic gremlins sorted so that we can take it for a real off-road adventure. Until then, I'm kind of just posing, but doing some test runs and getting really excited for what the future holds. The tally on this build is now at $11,000, which the car was free, so yes, that is absurd, but also, I mean, just look at this thing. How can you say no to 11 grand for this much truck? Everyone who borrows it loves it. I love it. It is a special rig, so I'm perfectly pleased with that. Even if I can't get it back, it is a hell of a way to spend that money and have something that brings me so much joy. So thank you again to Lucky 8 for the sponsorship on the lift kit. Thank you to everyone else in the Rover chats that have been helping me get this far, and hopefully very soon we'll get it the rest of the way. So subscribe for more Rover content and budget builds. Subscribe for the next build project, which I just won on Cars and Bids and we'll be announcing shortly. And of course the multiplier goes away soon too, so a lot going on here in the Crazy Nick garage, but gosh, just let's do some outro music and some drone shots of this beautiful, beautiful thing.